relaxed?
I'm feeling relaxed.
Are you feeling relaxed? Good. I want you to feel relaxed because this is a celebration. There's something very special about weddings. And we know there are legal sides to a wedding, but that is required by the government. But weddings, and I trust today, is bigger than just signing your signature on a piece of paper. That there's something spiritual, there's something unique in it, and I think something that God really honors. And I don't think it's any wonder that the first miracle that Jesus ever performed was at a wedding. The very first time that he did a miracle was at a wedding, and I think that just shows how much he honors weddings. And I trust that as you journey from today forward, that you would have lots of memories from the little video clips and photos, and you'll carry on through your lifetime, and you'll show your great-grandchildren, and it would be a very, very special occasion in your life. And for the family as well, I know some have travelled from KwaZulu-Natal, I think it is, and maybe other parts. Welcome, and I trust that it's also a very, very special day, and I remind you that you're part of their journey, that you're not just here just to warm up a pew, but you're here as very much part of their life and their journey as well. And I think that's something special as well, and a challenge in today's time. But there's a verse that I want to just read to you. It's not very well, or not well known, but not very well read at weddings. But I'm a unique type of person, so I'll read it and then I'll tell you why I think it fits so nicely. It says this: two are better than one, because they have a good return for their work. If one falls down, his friend can help him up. But pity the man who falls, or the woman who falls, and there's no one to help him or her up. Also, if two lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not easily broken. And we talk of the 3 strands, meaning the two of you and God. And while I read that, I thought it speaks of great intimacy. It talks about helping the one person up if he falls, or if you falls, about keeping warm, about defending yourselves. And I think that speaks of great intimacy between the two individuals. And we know marriages are about intimacy. At least it should be about intimacy. And we know people sometimes do it for wrong reasons and whatnot, but I know that on your conscience you're not. You are really here today because you've chosen each other. And as I said in the prayer, God has brought the two of you together. There are millions of other people in the world, but the two of you fell in love, journeyed together, planned, and are standing today in front of family and friends as part of the witness. And so part of that intimacy, I want to just share just 3 simple ideas in terms of what you can carry forward. Now, I know you're not going to remember any of them, and that's okay, but maybe be some on the video clips, or as I said, you can remind them about some of these. Just very quickly, I think the first thing about intimacy is about that in order to have intimacy, your love has to be respectful. I don't think if there's no respect, there's no real true intimacy. And someone said this: there's nothing that says I respect you more than in giving yourselves over completely to your partner. And that's what you're really doing today. You're giving yourselves over completely to each other, holding nothing back. And it doesn't mean that you've got to lose your individuality. I think you've got to safeguard that, because God has made you, Monique, as an individual, and for you, Jason, as well. And both of you have got individual gifts and talents, and career-wise as well. And you've got to continue to strive for that as individuals. But I think more importantly, you've got to give yourselves over to each other completely and say, this is who I am. And part of saying I do is what we say, taking the warts and all of the person and saying, this is who I am, and are you prepared to journey with me until the sun sets on your lives? And that is about true respect for each other. And Christ said this, he says, I've told you these things for a purpose, that my joy might be your joy, and your joy will be fully mature. This is my command: love one another the way I loved you. This is the very best way to love. Put your life on the line for your friends, or in this case, put your life on the line for your husband, and put your life on the line for your wife. And that's what it's about protecting each other through great intimacy and respect. And then secondly, that I want to share with you about intimacy is that in order to have that, your love has to be supportive and I think trustworthy. And it's not only, as I said, about respecting your own individual dreams, but marriage has a bigger picture. Marriage is about standing like you are, shoulder to shoulder, looking out into the future and saying, how can we be a blessing to others? What is our purpose for our marriage? What is your purpose for your marriage? And that is the question that I trust that you two will be asking and hopefully find an answer for. Because we know that the world, all the stats that the world throws at us, and and why you want to get married, and who wants, you don't need to get married, etc., etc. But the two of you have chosen to get married. And I think there's some deep principle within that, and you two can be an example to others to say that marriage works, marriage is good. And I really do trust that as you journey, that you'll find your purpose. As I said, it's not about losing yourself, but it's about coming together as two individuals and saying, how can we be a blessing to others? What purpose does our marriage have in our community, in our neighborhood, and in this world? And I really trust that God will honor that and shine through that as you journey. He says this, I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. Then when you call on me, come and pray and listen, you will seek me and find me, and you will seek me with all your heart. Someone said this, God intended for the marriage relationship to be the hallmark of the Christian home. The love relationship between a husband and wife should provide the clearest picture of God's love for us. The model it provides to children, the church, and the world would effectively draw others to that love that Christ has for us. And so, bigger than your individual dreams, I trust that you'll find a purpose for your marriage, and that comes, as I said, through great intimacy and great respect for each other as God has made two unique individuals. And then finally, and thirdly, is that you've got to realize that your marriage is not just a single act, but it's a process. We sign in the register in a little while and you say your vows, but it doesn't just start and end here today. After you've signed and you say, well, that's it. It's about a life journey. And as I said in the prayer, that as you journey and as you get all together, you'll take many treasures along the way, whether it's photos or video clips or stories that you can pass down to your two children, to your grandchildren, and it's about showing that life can be good in spite of all the chaos that we see, in spite of all the difficulties and challenges. That when two people truly love each other, not based on the way the world loves, but that the way that Christ loves you and the way that God intended for marriages to be, that you can pass those traits on to people who need that, and to show them that you've journeyed to the end as well. And so I remind you that it's a journey. It's not just about a destination, and that you'll find those special treasures along the way. So I just leave those three simple principles with you as you journey. That you've got to be respectful for each other through the good times and the bad times, and that I trust that you'll find a common purpose for your marriage, and that you'll realize that your marriage is a journey. It doesn't just start and end here, but it's a lifelong commitment, and you've got somebody to journey with you, and as I said, you've got all of us to journey as well. When things get a little bit tough, you can turn to your friends and family as well, and ask them to help you as well. And so I trust that as you've heard what I've got to say, that you will remember some of it, that there will be tough times ahead. We know that life is not easy, and it's got its challenges, but in spite of all of that God would display certain things within your marriage. And I just want to just read it to you, as I think that as God displays His fruits through your marriage, it will be this: that you'll, through the love that you'll have each other, that you'll have joy within your marriage, that you'll find peace through difficult times, that you'll practice patience towards each other, that you'll be kind and you'll be good to each other. You'll be ever faithful within your marriage, and you'll act out of gentleness and self-control. Then I think you'll begin to create a marriage where home abounds with love. And so I'll just leave that with you, and I want to just finish by reading just a last piece of scripture that I think ties everything up that was said today. And it's from the New Testament, and it says this: "Therefore, as God's chosen people, and He's chosen the two of you to be here today, holy and dearly loved, clothed with self, with compassion, with kindness, with humility, with gentleness and patience. Bear with each other and forgive whatever grievances you may have against one another. Forgive as the Lord forgave you, and after all these virtues, put on love which binds them in perfect unity. And whatever you do, whether in word or deed, do it in the name of God, giving thanks to Him through the Father." And so I'll just end with that verse, that you'll clothe yourself with this compassion, humility, humbleness, and respect. And that you'll enjoy your journey from this day forward.